Hello and welcome to Craftiosity, the subscription box of modern craft kits. This month I'm really delighted to bring you a collaboration with illustrator Carol of MaggieMagoo Designs. Using Carol's illustration, we're making a copper embossed lid for this lovely little wooden box. I hope you enjoy the tutorial. Inside your kit you'll find your wooden box, your copper, your template, an embossing tool and paper stump, and your double-sided adhesive. Remove the copper carefully from its packaging. Be careful as it does have very sharp edges. We'll cut the copper down to fit the box and turn in the edges so it's safer to work with. Place the box on top of the copper so there's a 1 cm gap at the shorter end. Then cut a mark in the copper at 1 cm away from the other shorter end of the box. Remove the box and cut straight across from your mark. Be careful not to catch your hands on the copper edges when you do this. The edges at the shorter ends of the box will lie flush with the box. Place the box back onto the copper sheet, leaving a 1 cm section of copper showing, and use the side of the box to guide the copper up. Once there's a bend in the copper, remove the box and fold over. Use the side of the paper stump to neaten the edge right down. Place the box back on top of the copper so the folded edge is flush with one short edge of the box. Then do the other side. Use the other side of the box as a guide to fold the copper up, then neaten the edge down with the paper stump. Now place the box back onto the copper so there's 1 cm of copper showing along the long edge of the box. Fold up as you did before, and then over gently. Before you neaten down, use scissors to cut triangles off the copper where it overlaps at the corners. Do this very carefully so the copper doesn't ping up at your face. Once your scissors are in position, place your hand gently over the top and then cut the copper. Then fold the copper back down and use the paper stump to neaten. Place your already folded long edge of the copper just above the hinge on the lid of the box. Use the box to fold the copper over to create the top of the box, and then back down on the other side. Carefully lift the box lid up and fold the other edge of the copper around it. Again, be careful around the sharp edge. Remove the copper from the box and somewhat straighten out the first 2 folds that you made. Then use the final fold in the copper and fold it down. If that piece of copper is too long to fold over neatly, carefully cut off a strip and then fold over. Trim off the triangles of copper where it overlaps at the corners, then use a paper stump to neaten the fold. From the paper template provided, cut out the large rectangle for the main design on the top of the box. Set out your copper in front of you so the shorter long edge, the one that wraps around by the hinge, is away from you. You'll initially work on the back of the copper piece. Place the template onto the copper and use a little washi or masking tape if you have it, or just hold the paper in place. Use a piece of cardboard, you can flatten out your Craftiosity box for this, and lean onto it when marking up the copper. This will protect your table and give the copper something to be pushed into. Test using one of the offcuts of copper to get a feel for the embossing tool. Then use the smaller end of your embossing tool to draw around the design on the black lines. We'll save the green lines for later. Where there are thick lines, draw the centre of the lines. Where there are black shapes, like the hearts or the leaves, draw around the outside. Then use the thicker end of your embossing tool to fill them in. Go slowly and steadily to keep the template accurate. Cut out the template for the strip at the front of your box and copy this design over into your copper. Remove the template if you had it taped down and pop it to one side to use as a guide for the next part. Use the smaller end of the embossing tool to draw in the green lines. If your template has moved, it's easier to draw in the green lines freehand. When you've finished, turn your copper over and it will look something like this. With the smaller end of your embossing tool, draw around your other edges again to make them more pronounced. Once you've done this, turn the copper over to the front and use the paper stump to flatten down the edges around the lines to give them more definition. Once you've finished, the copper will have flattened out a little. Turn it over to the back and redraw any sections you think need a little more definition or to pop out more. Finally, do the same in the front and check if there are any little bits you want to flatten. Wrap lightly around the box to get the creases back in. Take your piece of double-sided adhesive and cut off long strips 1 cm in width.
Peel off one side of the tape. Place a strip on the inside edge of each of the 4 edges of your copper. Cut off any excess. Then remove the other side of the tape. Carefully position your copper over the top of the box, starting with the hinge end, then the top, and then the other side. Well done, your copper box is complete.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. If you have, please subscribe to our channel or sign up to our newsletter. And if you'd like the full step-by-step instructions for this video, including photographs, you'll find a link to our Etsy shop just below.